Hello everyone and welcome to the seed reveal for 5-digit European Cup 2025. For the moment being, I'm just by myself alone here, joining by Kiori, who's only streaming, not commentating today. We hadn't planned to had more commentators join us, but unfortunately one of them cut their finger. I'm not joking. That actually happened. So yeah, before we begin, quick note. I want to address like everything that happened over the qualifiers weekend because I feel like it's been a bit of a disaster, but it went pretty well overall. We had some slight hiccups in a couple lobbies where there's been, especially in the Belarus, Poland, and Baltics ones to be more specific. Those had the biggest problems, issues where Baltics ones, no, Baltics was because one of the maps was skipped, but they may eventually replayed it after because of a slight mistake from the referee. Every other lobby was fine. Poland also had the same issue with the maps not being played in the second round, not the whole pool being played. And then Belarus had the unfortunate political situation affect them severely with their internet, where they had to actually just, yeah, have multiple VPNs for them to just stay connected to benches, which is not great to hear. So we hope we hope that everything gets sorted out for them. But yeah, we can begin with seed review, and we'll begin with C26. Not a big surprise, at least not for those who are. That's the wrong screen. Just doesn't notice because you changed it last minute. There we go. Okay. C26. Yeah, not a surprise for a lot of the people that already saw the team and the roster. It's 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 a four-man team. It wasn't expecting they weren't expecting to make it really far. So getting T26 is unfortunate to see, but they were at a major disadvantage compared to all the other teams. At least they got one map that was not the last seed, which is DT2. They were 24th on that, but apart from that, yeah, pretty much bottom seed on all of them. So we can move on to sweet seed 25, which is Bulgaria. Another another team that was on the weaker side. Again, we predicted it not to qualify, and it ended up being that way. As again, not that strong of a team. They start to climb up a bit on some of the maps, but not enough for them to actually make a difference. So it's only C25 for them. So we can move on to Sweet 24. C24 Hungary, a seven-man team that I expected to do a bit better. Still, it was in the known qualifying section in our prediction stream, but I was expecting them to do at least slightly better, where they would place a bit on the more higher end of non-qualifiers. But yeah, unfortunately, still a team that didn't qualify. So we can move on to the next one. C23 Norway. Norway, one of the few teams that didn't want to play the pool a second time, where they just decided the first run was enough, and maybe it wasn't exactly enough for them, as you can clearly see they pretty much bottomed out on a lot of the maps, being really lower seed. Pretty average lower seeds on all of them. Not a map that really just points out more than the rest. So yeah, unfortunately, Norway also another team that did not qualify. So we'll move on to C22, which is Belarus. Fortunately, the problems that they had in the lobby plus everything else, it wouldn't have been enough, but just really bad situation from Belarus overall, and I feel sorry for them, and them also not qualifying after they've been through all that trouble in the lobby. It really makes me like just sad. Like I wish they would have done better, but and I wish they didn't have the all the problems that they've had in the lobby. But unfortunately, it is what it is, and yeah, it's only C22 for them. Moving on to C21 Greece, a team that was also predicted to finish a bit lower, but we start to see some pretty decent scores on the HRs as they were top 10 on the HR too. They were doing pretty decently on that old HR pick as well as on the DTs. They were pretty decently high up there, but it was mostly the HR who carried their seed a bit higher than the others, but yeah, everything else just dragged them a bit more down, and they only managed to finish in 21st. Seed 20, Portugal. Portugal, again, just like Greece before it, HR definitely a mod that they've done a lot better on than more a lot of the teams that are gonna come up in the future. But also on the hit, and they did a bit better than they were expected, and their seed points out to be, which is good, but it doesn't make a significant difference overall when you consider that teams and seeding are based on beta scoring. And for those of you who haven't read the section and the formula of beta scoring, I'm just gonna sum it up for you. It's basically it doesn't take z sum, so basically average place. It doesn't just take your best placement per map and boosts your overall performance of a team with the z sum. It takes all the performances you did in the lobby and averages them out to a better understanding of how the team overall did across the pool, rather than if they had a pop-off map and they had a low point map. It takes a better average of what the team did. So that's why you were gonna see seed 10 like we saw with Greece on the HR2, and they didn't even qualify or were that close to qualifying. But yeah, moving on to seed 19, which for me was a bit of a shock. I was expecting them to do a lot better. Baltics, only seed 19. They did a lot better on the nomad pool than they did on the modded pool, and the DT as well was pretty decent for them, but that hidden and nature pool definitely dragged them a bit down to the point where they couldn't make more score. They couldn't have a better overall performance on the whole pool, where they could have get just inched that way closer to qualifying. But yeah, unfortunately, just C19 for them. Seed number 18, a team that definitely surprised me a lot when I looked at their MP link early when they started the lobby. Switzerland, that Nomad 4 definitely really impressive overall. I thought they were gonna qualify if they kept that up, but then the other maps just started to go a bit more downhill for them. So fortunately, it wasn't really meant to be, but they were a really strong reading team, as we could tell by the normal 4 score. But fortunately, every single other pick was just not enough for them, and they only managed to get seed 18. And now for the last seed not making it, it is Austria. Austria is the last seed that doesn't qualify for the Swiss round for 5EC. Uh, there's a bit of a difference between them and seed 16 in beta, some that you will see later on the stat sheet. But yeah, they were doing pretty decently on the hidden pool, but on every single pool they just got dragged down a bit, especially that Nomad 4 and HR1, where they kind of underperformed relative to their seedings. So yeah, we'll now go to the first team that qualified, which I'm really excited to announce is Romania. In the prediction streams, absolutely everyone doubted them. I was the only one who said they will qualify in seed 16, and they did it. They managed to absolutely pop off and managed to get a pretty decent overall performance on across all the maps. That Nomad 4 is their best map overall. It's still not that far off from where they're seated, so yeah. Seed number 15, Denmark. Again, we're gonna see pretty much a similar pattern with Denmark, where Nomad 4 is one of their best map, but it's also that DT2 where they felt a lot more comfortable than they felt on the DT1, and it definitely shows as that overall carried their DTC a bit higher than they were, and everything else was just good enough for them to just to lock in that number 15 spot on the seed. Moving on to seed 14, another Nordic country, Finland. A really great performance from them on the Nomad 1 and Nomad 2, where tech and mixture of aim and streams on the Nomad 1 definitely felt like their best skill set across the whole Nomad pool. And then they got dragged down by that reading pick in the Nomad 4, and the rhythm test that we had for Nomad 3, but everything else they did pretty decently average for them to just lock in seed 14 and manage to get comfortably in the qualifier seeds. Seed 13, we brought it back, Czechoslovakia, and they managed to put up a great performance, both Czech Republic and the Slovakian players, where they managed to pretty much get seed 5 on the hidden pool, which is a really impressive deed, especially considering the difficulty of the hidden one, and overall on the hidden 2, they managed to get a number 2 on it, which is insane from a seed this low, but kind of dragged down by the HR scores and the DT scores, where if maybe they could have gotten, well, they could have pushed into that top 12 or even top 10. Moving on, another merge of countries that managed to qualify, Belgium and Luxembourg. Both of them managed to perform pretty good overall. There's always a map in every single mod pool except DT where they perform better than the other. On HR is not that noticeable. On Hidden is a lot more noticeable, where the seed difference between Hidden 1 and Hidden 2 is quite big. And on Nomad pool, it is that Nomad 3 where the rhythm test, it definitely suited them a lot, and they managed to get seed 4 on it. Moving on to seed 11. Seed 11 is Spain. Many people maybe thought they were going to be a bit lower down. I personally think they would have been a bit higher. It kind of averages out between the two opinions. So they managed to lock in here at seed 11. Really great performance overall in the DT pool, where they managed to be the sixth best team on DT, with number 6 on DT1 and number 8 on DT2, as well as that HR2 where they managed to get seed 6. Everything else more or less around where they are at in seeding. So there's not a lot to mention apart from maybe HR1 was a bit of a underperformance from them on that precision map, where they could have maybe done better and they would have pushed into top 10 definitely. Seed number 10, a seed that I think everyone underestimated, where we thought the more newer faces of the roster in Italy are gonna be a lot more inexperienced, because we said the same about Norway, and Norway did not qualify, but Italy surprised us in a good way, where they absolutely performed out of their minds and managed to do crazy performance on some maps and a more normal performance on others, where DT2, HR1, Hidden 2, Nomad 2, and Nomad 3 have been the highlights of their whole qualifier lobby, where they absolutely destroyed those maps and managed to get into the single digits of seeding. And I feel where they've managed to push pretty high on those maps, they've also gotten really low on the others, where they're a lot more lower than what they are on their best maps. So I think they got dragged down by the skill sets they're not that comfortable on. So moving into the Swiss stage is gonna be a question on how well they can perform in a match status when they're put on something that they're not comfortable with, and they're not gonna be having, the strong pick of the hidden two, especially considering the hidden two is not gonna be the same, obviously, for Swiss stage, since this tournament it is not slot pooled, so it's gonna be a lot different than what it is here in qualifiers. But yeah, we'll move on to seed number 9. Single digits in seeding now, and we start the single digits of seeding with Ukraine. Overall, really just decent performance from absolutely every single one of them. Maybe on the Nomad pool, it's a bit of a contrast where on the more mechanical maps, they've done really good, but on the reading, they've done a lot worse overall in the whole lobby. So reading is definitely the weaker point of this team. It's also a question of that more precision pick in HR1 as well, where they're also a bit seated lower. So it definitely feels like some of the gimmicks are definitely gimmicky styled maps are not their strong points. So that might be a thing to look out for them when you're facing them. But yeah, moving on to seed 8. Seed 8 is Kazakhstan. I thought Kazakhstan was gonna get a bit higher, but as you can definitely see, there was one map like pretty much anchoring them down in seeding wise, which is that Nomad Free, where the rhythm test was mm, way too much for them, and they managed to just absolutely bottle it, more or less, to say the least, because on absolutely the every single other map they've performed really well, and maybe another exception on that hidden one and HR2, where they also a bit underperformed to what I would have expected from them. But overall they managed to secure them a really strong seed. And I should also point out that they're seed 2 overall on DT, so that says a lot as a team, and would be quite scary to face them on DT. Seed number 7, we see our first number 1 seeding on a map, as we see the number 1 seed on the Nomad 2. The tech definitely suited them a lot, where they felt a lot more alive on it. It's also there's also a lot of other maps that they've performed really good on. It's even the reading one of Nomad 4, they've performed really well. It was mostly it doesn't the Nomad 3 feels off to me. It feels like it maybe they didn't perform that well overall on it, and maybe they didn't have good 2 runs on it where they could have maybe got more and maybe pushed into the top 6, but a bit dragged down by those. Also, DT was really weak for them, so a lot more a team a lot more lenient on more normal mods like hidden and HR, and not more into those speed picks like the DTs. I should also point out, if scores are not correct, it may be because of the copy and paste. We had an issue with the import like 50 times. We only managed to import properly like I would say like an hour ago. We managed to actually get the bracket.json working, so it might just not look good on the stream, but I can assure you on the stats document it's correct and everything is in order. But yeah, moving on to Poland. Poland, uh, I was expecting more from Poland. I didn't expect them to perform this low, but then again, they also had not played the pool a second time. So that could have also affected them, because every single other team so far has played it a second time. There's only a couple that decided not to play it, so maybe that dragged them down. The maps that they replayed, it's also not the maps that they've they've gotten the scores really badly on, so I don't know how much it would have mattered because the map that truly dragged them down a lot is that Nomad 2 and that HR2 where that more slidery mapping it definitely kind of caught them out, and it's yeah, not the best performance from what I was expecting from Poland at least. Now, next seed is another good surprise in this tournament, Sweden. Probably the biggest surprise for me, at least so far, that they managed to put themselves into top five so comfortably. I was I think in our prediction we put them ninth or 12th as an average from all of us, and yeah, but I have to say, for the Sweden fanatics out there, the difference between them and Seed 4 is in the decimals in the beta function. It's if you look at it on on the stat sheet, it's literally the same, but it is rounded up to only 2 decimals, and it only because, and I quote, because of the placement on the Nomad 3 and DT2 where they're lower. Those are the only factors that separated them from Seed 4, which Seed 4 is another underperformer for me, in France. Whereas you can see France got single digit on all of the maps, so that's the separating factor between Sweden and France. France was a lot more consistent overall compared to the other teams around them, so they managed to just slightly inch out Sweden, where those pretty much 2 maps that I mentioned previously were the difference maker between them. But I do have to say, France really, really scary on HR. Kind of just sad to see they performed so bad on the hidden. And on Nomad, it was a bit of a shaky place all around. They did get that scene one on Nomad 1, but everything else kinda shaky, and I personally expected a lot more, especially since we predicted them to get second, but that was overall the tournament. They can still get second. They can still improve. There's still time, but yeah. We continue on to seed number 3, which is United Kingdom. United Kingdom, a team that I was not expecting to perform this well. It was another team that I think would put like more into 5th and 6th. So yeah, it's a team that kind of blew us over with the expectation that we had for them, especially considering they managed to qualify above France in seeding, which is kind of a statement from the United Kingdom. But they also don't stack out on, like, they don't have a significant pick where you can look at it on the results and on the seeding on the map and you say, wow, on that map they're really scary. They kind of have pretty consistent scores all around. Seed number 2, um, Germany. Germany, I was expecting personally to see as seed number 1, but I feel like they've been dragged down by again the same situation as Sweden with France, but the difference in beta sum is a lot bigger. If you'll see on the sheet later on, but yeah, that Nomatsu and DT2 definitely were not that strong for Germany overall. But then again, they got 4 number 1s on a lot of other maps. They got number 1 on the Nomad 3, which was pretty difficult. The Nomad 4 they done really good on the reading. They've done really good on the hidden one. They've done really good on the precision pick of HR1, it's impressive to see that they've gotten so many number 1s, but it's also making you wonder how well has Russia done, since Russia got seed 1. as you some of you might have done your math and counted the teams that are left. There we go. Russia overall pretty much didn't drop out of the top four on the maps, which is um I don't want to say scary because it would be an understatement. I feel like the fact that their lowest seeded map is number one and it's with sixth seed and it's already above 2 million score on it, and then the next one would be either the Hidden Two or Hard Rock One with fourth seed as a team. It says a lot about a team. The team overall really scary. Again, in the prediction stream, we might have put them lower because we expect during the whole the tournament for them to actually either get scaled out by the other teams who have we believe have a higher skill cap with the pools. But overall, in qualifiers, they are the best team. They are the team to beat, and they will be facing Romania. So it'll be interesting to watch that match as a fellow Romanian. First matches, as as I've mentioned, I think I've mentioned previously that first match in the Swiss stage is determined by seeding. So seed 1 will face seed 16, 2 will face 15, 3 will face 14, and so on for the first matchup only. After that, it's based on matches won, lost, and also maps won and lost. So the matches get closer and closer based on the performances of the team. So yeah, be interesting to see how every team does in the Swiss stage and how they handle the Swiss stage, because I feel like every team will handle the matches differently. I feel like the first match we shouldn't see any surprises, but I said that about qualifying, and yet Sweden and Italy blew me out of the waters where I thought they would have not done as well as they did. But yeah, uh, we'll update you on something. We were supposed to have a pool showcase in the same stream, but some technical difficulties happened with the person that was editing the video. So unfortunately, we can't bring it, show you the pool right now, but we will show it later today. Expect it around 19 UTC, more or less. We will ping you when we will do the stream for it, and we will also ping you when it will be on the sheet. But for now, this has been the seed reveal. This have been the seeds, the team that qualified, and pretty much the opponents that you are expect to face for the teams that have qualified in your first match. Everything after that, it's all in the team's hands, and what and how they perform and how the results are gonna happen. But yeah, stay tuned for the announcement for when the qualifier, no, Swiss stage pool will be, and we'll see you in a couple hours. I hope.